Right now, currently, the SPR holds 692.3 million barrels of government-controlled crude oil. And there are some that think we should sell that off, or at least some of it. The question is, how much should we sell off? And joining us now is Baron Lukas. And Baron, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good evening.
Give us your background, if you would, please.
30-year Marine colonel, turned investment banker, turned oil field executive, turned consultant, and now I'm running a oil field company that cleans up oil spills.
Very good, very good. So going from being a, did you say Marine colonel?
I did.
Semper Fi.
Thank you.
You've run the gamut. You've gone from being a Marine colonel to investments, and now you're cleaning it all up. So, how many barrels do those who want us to sell off the Strategic Petroleum Oil Reserve? How many do they want to sell off? How many barrels?
It depends on who you ask. There is some reason to start thinking about what to do with that. There is a significant need for infrastructure reform. Most of that strategic oil reserve infrastructure is pretty dilapidated. You know, it's 40 years old, so it's probably needs a little cash to get it back to a livelihood. But the reality is that we only produce half of the oil that we consume daily. And now, while we can become energy independent in the future, we're not there now. Selling it off completely or even large quantities, I think it's pretty foolhardy.
So that the SPR, 692.3 million barrels. Any idea what that is worth at this point with today's prices?
I would have to do the math. Just multiply it by about 47, and you come up with a number of $47. It's worth a bunch. But the reality is that we live in a world where importing oil is still pretty treacherous. OPEC has got some challenges, as we know. Frankly, in my opinion, the Middle East has never been more unstable than it is today. Canada's got a pretty bad fire that's still out there, and their oil production is limited. Countries like Venezuela, Nigeria, and Libya have some significant problems in producing oil. So, to me, this is a little bit premature. With the right kind of policies from Washington, D.C., with the right kind of recapitalization of the oil field, I think we can become energy independent within just a few years. We certainly have the oil, but we need to get to it. So I'm in favor of keeping what we have and just kind of taking it steady. The Brexit, the British leaving of the EU, and some other things have caused a lot of volatility, and now it's not a time to be playing with our national security and our ability to fuel our nation.
Yeah. Brexit has thrown the world market into turmoil. With the oil reserve, what the idea was is to have a 90-day supply of oil on hand. Now, if hypothetically, let's say that we had a World War III scenario pop up, and we had sold off this reserve that we currently have on hand. Now, being former military and also involved in the oil industry, what kind of predicament would that put the U.S. in, or wouldn't it make any difference?
Oh, it doesn't make a difference. Any interruption of the free flow of oil between countries right now is very, very dangerous and would certainly cause significant economic turmoil. Again, it's a matter of how much do we consume and how much do we produce. And even if we draw a circle around Canada, United States, and Mexico, we still don't come up with a number that we need to survive and to run our economy every day. So having some reserves is a good idea. Now, I don't think World War III or IV, depending on which number you're thinking about, is a reality anytime soon, but certainly a disruption of oil flow from OPEC to our allies and to our United States is not beyond reasonableness. It wouldn't take much for something to occur between, let's say, Iran and Saudi Arabia right now that could disrupt or interrupt oil flow. And so having a cushion that sustains our economy for some period of time, I think is a prudent move. And so, again, I'm not for doing something rash. We've got a road ahead within the national election. We've got an issue that we need to kind of see what happens in Europe and how all this falls out. I think we need to kind of stay the course. Now, the good news is this. This is the good news. The good news is that we have enough oil to sustain ourselves once we get to it. And that's something that's very different from 73. Remember, in 73, there wasn't any more to produce. We couldn't get the job done. There wasn't any more. Horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing did not exist. And that technology has caused a complete oil revolution. I mean, for the first time in our history, and I remember the 73 embargo well, for the first time in our history, we can now look forward to, with the right kind of policies, the right kind of funding, energy independence is a reality. That's a complete paradigm shift.
Now, you weren't the guy that drove by waving to me as I was sitting on the freeway at 4:30 in the morning out of gas, were you?
No, I was in New Jersey at the time, so that was probably not another case. But the reality is that we all remember that, and everything has changed. The last 5 years, the shale revolution has changed our complete outlook on how we might see ourselves. There's enough coal, enough gas, enough oil to last for centuries. It's just a matter of time before we can tap into that and produce enough for our own consumption. And specifically, if we draw a circle around Canada, Mexico, and the United States, now within a few years we could. And so there are a number of platforms where people can look at and to invest in the oil field. One such thing would be Crudefunders.com. It's crowdfunding for the oil field. What a neat idea for the average American to invest in an oil well and gain residual income from that production. That's a first. And I think we have a bright future in energy in this country with the right kind of policies in Washington.
Baron, I have a lot of neighbors in Colorado that have oil pumps on their property. Can you tell me why they're not pumping on my property?
No.
Have I done something wrong?
I'm not a geophysicist or a geologist, but I will say this. This is another thing that is really cool. I'm sorry that you're not making your wealth on oil, but I have a small ranch in Texas, and I own mineral rights. And so, if in fact somebody wants to look at drilling for oil on my land, I'm going to open the gate and let them in. And here's a critical fact, though. Critical fact. Where else but the United States can the landowner benefit from oil or gas production? And the answer is nowhere. Nowhere on the globe can you do that. So it's a critical issue. That if you have mineral rights and you happen to have oil underneath your land, well, good. And then I'm hoping that somebody finds it for you.
Yeah, I had a guest on. I'm heading about 5 years ago now, and he was an expert on oil exploration. I asked him the same question, and he chuckled, and he said, well, there's no oil on your property. I said, how do you know that? And he said, we determine that by satellite. And I thought, how in heaven's name, how does it penetrate the Earth's surface? How deep does the... Yeah, how would they know that?
No, but we do know there's a known basis. We know where the shale oil is, and the good news is we've known that for decades. Getting to the shale oil has been the trick, and frankly, not since the last 5 or 6 years have we've been able to do that. And that technology is improving daily. The lifting cost, the cost of bringing that oil out of the ground, is decreasing, and our ability to produce oil is increasing. So it's a good news story all around.
Now you're talking fracking?
Certainly. Yeah, you have to frack it to get it out.
And I'll tell you, the gentleman, I wish I could remember his name. We had him on to talk about fracking, and he threw out a lot of statistics for us how safe it is.
Mm-hmm.
And in Colorado, where it has not been a problem. Fracking is done very, very safely. Colonel, I want to take a break. When we come back, I want to get your opinion on the Keystone Pipeline while we have you on the line here, if you don't mind.
No.
All right. Baron Lukas is our guest. It's 11:20, and you're listening to 830 WCCO. 11:24 CCO. Al Momberg with you. Chris Elston in the control room. Baron Lukas is our guest, and we're talking about oil and the reserve. And before we took the break, I had mentioned that I want to talk to Baron about the Keystone Pipeline, and I'm sure you follow this very closely. Is this a good idea or not a good idea in your opinion, Baron?
Having the Keystone Pipeline, absolutely, it's a good idea.
Yes.
Go ahead. No.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, go
here's
ahead.
the reality. I don't understand the politics, quite frankly. That's beyond my comprehension. The reality is that pipeline was a perfectly safe program that was going to take Canadian sand oils and bring it to American Gulf Coast refineries. Now, again, there's a bunch of politics in terms of international pipeline, and I don't understand the administration. I don't pretend to, but the reality is that we need to secure the ability for us to collect the oil that is in this hemisphere. And again, like I said, if you do a circle on Canada, United States, and Mexico, I think within 5 years or somewhere around there, we could be energy independent. That pipeline is required. It's certainly not better taking Canadian sand oil and bringing it to American refineries for our consumption and then exploitation of the final product versus Canada taking that and shipping it directly to the Pacific. So I don't understand the issues. I really don't.
I'm wondering if it's Baron. I'm wondering if it's the same crowd that was opposed to the Alaskan pipeline, and it was all doom and gloom. We're going to destroy the elk and the reindeer and everybody else. But it seems that there haven't been any problems with the Alaskan pipeline. How long has it been in existence? And apparently the herds of elk and other wildlife, they love the pipeline because it's cleared a path for them to go to where they want to go. Is it the same? Is it the same crowd or a like crowd?
I think it's probably the same or like crowd. I mean, there is a movement that kind of villainizes all fossil fuels as something that is horrific. It's a naturally occurring product, and it is the most portable, the most affordable, and the most available fuel source we have. And the best news is that it's economically viable, meaning that you can get it and sell it and make money and be self-sustaining. There's no other program on the planet where you can do that. Wind energy, solar energy, while in theory are nice, they're actually completely ineffective. They are not sustainable in terms of financial sustainability. They have to be subsidized by the government, by our taxpayer dollars. So certainly carbon fuels is it. Now that doesn't mean we shouldn't be responsible. That doesn't mean that we need to not take care of our environment, but I think you can do both. And quite frankly, I speak to and work with oil companies and drilling companies and well servicing companies all the time. And I've been doing so since 2008 specifically, so it's been a couple of years now. And I'll tell you that they are some of the most responsible, most patriotic people I've ever worked for and worked with. That includes my time in the military. And I think if we just listened to the reality of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. When you look at the Alaskan pipeline, and you look at the idea of building the Keystone Pipeline, in my opinion, from what I've read, it seems to be the safest way to transport crude. It's certainly better than ships. It's better than oil tanker semis, I would think. There's less chance of an accident, or am I wrong?
Looks like we lost him.
All right, well, that's unfortunate. I wanted to get his take on that last question. All right, we'll open the lines up. Our number is 651-989-9226, 866-989-9226. I guess we found out how long he had been scheduled for.
Maybe his battery ran out. Wouldn't that be ironic?
That could be, too. That was a cell phone.
If
that was a cell phone.
If his phone ran out of energy, I think he's calling back.
Oh, good. We'll get his take on that last question. Now we got to remember what it was.
There he is.
Okay. He is back. Baron, thank you for calling us back. We really appreciate it.
No worries.
The question last question I have for you. You look at the safety of the Alaskan pipeline. Really, no problems with that pipeline. The Keystone Pipeline, I would think that this is the safest way to transport crude oil. Better than certainly ships, better than tankers, semis, or am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Whether it's over road, tanker trucks, or railroads, those tend to be fraught with some issues. I think pipelines, by and large, are the safest, most sound, most effective, and the cheapest way, cost-effective way to transport oil from Canada or from the Permian Basin to refineries. And frankly, there are tens of thousands of miles of pipelines in existence and tens of thousands more planned over the next few years. So the whole argument against Keystone is a political football. It has nothing to do with reality.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you're so right on that. Baron, thank you for spending the time with us. Thank you for calling back. We had no idea what happened to you. So I'm glad that you're okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Baron. Take care. That is Baron Lukas, and it's 11:30 on 830 WCCO.